What's up, Capoeira Nation? Welcome back to the Capoeira Experience Podcast. Finally back after fixing this computer. Something went wrong after probably like month and a half or something like that without posting anything. I think like 2 months without posting anything on the podcast. But finally, I'm back, and I'm back with the female series. As I promised, I want to bring a lot of female capoeiristas here to bring the female community up. So on this opportunity, like I said before, I'm continuing the female series, and today I'm bringing to you this female capoeirista. She started in 2005 while she was living in Ecuador. She became student graduated from Mese Priguisa in 2014. She currently teaches classes in 3 locations, and once in Canopy Dance Studio, Madison West High School, and a pediatric mental health facility in Madison, Wisconsin. Let me introduce you to Bruxa, Omulu, Capoeira, Madison, Wisconsin. How are you doing?
I'm doing really well. How are you?
Pretty good. Thank you so much again for the opportunity, like we were saying off the recording. Thank you so much for the opportunity, and really nice to see you again.
Yeah, you too. Thanks for the opportunity to talk about capoeira.
Of course.
Don't get to talk enough, I don't think.
Yes. And all right, so I usually start all the interviews with a intro or your story, how you started in capoeira, and you can start however you want.
Basically, I was living in Ecuador, and my host brothers and their friends were hanging out in the park, and they would, invite me to come down, and they played capoeira. And I had actually just gotten off of my first ACL surgery, and so I was really hesitant to actually start training right away while I was down there. But I'd hang out and I learned some of the songs and kind of messed around a little bit, and then I moved back to Madison and Googled it, looked it up, and found Omulu here in Madison, started training, and found out that our instructor here in Madison at the time was actually the guy who taught my host brothers and their friends in Ecuador.
Oh, cool.
Capoeira. Yeah, so he had gone down there and connected with them, and they had learned from him. So it was like super small world connection.
Yeah, it's like destiny.
Yeah. And so it was great because then I have a lot of close friends now in Ecuador, and so I would go down every summer and train with them, and I'd come back up here during the school year and train here in Madison, and yeah, so that was kind of how I started.
That's so cool. And now, what are your social medias and how people can contact you and find you?
So I personally only have Facebook, but Omulu Capoeira Madison our Facebook is at Madison Capoeira, and our Instagram is at Omulu Capoeira Madison. And I mean, obviously we have an email account and a website and stuff too, but.
Nice. Well, you said, you graduated in 2005?
I started in 2005. I graduated in 2014, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, that'd be about right. I'd have to think about it.
That's okay. I don't remember mine either.
Yeah. I mean, like, I remember it happening, but the year, I'd really have to do the math.
Nice. What do you think is the one thing that attracts you more, the most from capoeira? Like you say, like, man, this is why I want to do capoeira.
For me, it was the combination of everything. I grew up, I was a super active kid and young adult, but I also sang and I played the piano. And so the fact that this combined singing and acrobatics, which, I mean, I kind of did gymnastics when I was little. I was not good at it.
Cool. So you have a lot of like little things.
Exactly.
Cool.
There's like all these little things that had been part of my life, and capoeira just combined them all together. And I was like,
that's awesome.
This is amazing. Plus, it was a tie to my friends and family in Ecuador, which was just like cherry on top.
Yeah. Wow, that's awesome. It's like definitely destiny. It's like everything's connected. That's so cool. That's so cool. And I know that for the people listening now, that we met in here in Indiana, down Bloomington, contra Mese Rafael Bachizado.
Yep.
And I remember by then that I heard that I know that you teach classes.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. How do you like teaching classes?
Um, so I'm a teacher by profession.
Oh, cool. Okay.
I'm a Spanish teacher by profession. So stepping into teaching capoeira was really natural, but quite honestly, and I think this is true for a lot of capoeiristas, I relish the opportunity to just train.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
like
yeah,
um, I appreciate the opportunity to share what I've learned in capoeira with other people, and quite honestly, Omulu Madison would not be thriving the way it is if I weren't willing to step up and teach, because we had some transitions, and our lead instructor, Guerrera, um, she's like, she couldn't do it all by herself. So
yeah, yeah,
I kind of, like, and that's really, I think, one of the realities of capoeira these days is it's really hard to keep a group going if you're the only instructor.
yes,
And
yeah. You definitely
it's
need help.
just so much work.
Yeah, yeah,
So I'm really appreciative that I have a partner and a really strong set of leaders in our group here in Madison that are willing to help out. Because while I love sharing what I know about capoeira with other people, and I actually really love sharing it with the patients at the pediatric mental health facility,
yeah.
it's exhausting. Like it
Wow.
is exhausting
Yeah, yeah,
to, right? Like come to class with something to teach every class.
yeah. And try to keep that fire going.
Yeah.
Like because it's different when you step into the instructor position or the teaching position.
Yeah.
Because you see everything from different perspective.
Yes.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
it's like a relationship. You know what I mean? You gotta keep that fire going. Yeah, that spark there.
Yeah. And it's not just a relationship with one other person, but it's a relationship with every student that walks through the door.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And then you gotta figure out how they learn, and
Exactly.
then how keep that fire for every single person. So it's for my point of view, is exhausting, but it's satisfying. So
Yeah. Gehera and I talk a lot about, and again, I'm so thankful to have her as a partner in this because when one of us is feeling really drained and like we're giving and giving and not getting a lot of energy back, and like
yeah,
the other one can kind of step up and help out, or just, it's just nice to have someone, here who's like seeing the same things and experiencing the same classes to be like, you know, just like give a different perspective maybe, or say, no, you're totally on point. Like people suck this week. And like
I
they
laugh.
are just sucking our, like, like sometimes it's just like, people are in a position where they're not giving a lot of energy back in the class, and so it's a
Yeah.
lot of giving. And at other times, like you had asked about our encontro that we had in November, and I was just like
Oh, that's true.
so
So,
so like filled with energy and ashe after our event
so cool.
because
So cool.
people came out and they just were just overflowing with positivity and energy. And so it's like
That's
those
awesome.
are the times like you like store it up. It's like those great classes like, yes, this is going to get me through the next month.
Yeah. I know that motivation, like peaks out that motivation. Congratulations on putting all that stuff together, by the way.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, yeah,
Hit
because
on it.
it takes a lot of energy. Even to do something small, it takes a lot of energy.
Yeah. Yeah, big or small, it's you still got to get all the details in place.
Exactly, exactly. And do you guys teach adults, kids, or you guys teach both?
So overall, we teach both. Our classes at the dance studio are Monday, Wednesday, and Friday nights, and those are for mostly we say like ages 12 and up. We don't really say specifically like no, you can't bring your 10-year-old with you. They're kind of they're community classes, so they're open to kind of everyone, but
Okay.
we're mostly teaching at a young adult or adult level. So those are mostly, teen, adolescent, and adult classes. We do teach kids classes, but I don't teach them. We have one of our blue orange chords teaches them as kids, and so that's kind of his way of contributing to the group.
Nice.
And then, of course, I have the pediatric mental health classes
Okay.
every other Saturday. So those are, it's actually divided into an hour with elementary age kids and then an hour with the teens.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Hmm.
And for what do you think are the benefits for adults? We see capoeira different that kids do, and how what do you think are the benefits for from the instructor perspective for kids?
Oh my gosh, capoeira for kids is so amazing because
Nice.
again, it's like that combination of putting things together. So they learn body awareness, they learn balance, they learn, but they also learn to collaborate, right? Like you can't do capoeira by
Definitely.
yourself,
Yeah.
and so kids have to learn, even if it's just practicing the music, they have to learn to listen to one another. They learn, and then they just learn the basics of music as well, right? Like keeping a beat, learning some different rhythms, learning
Yeah.
songs, being melodic. Um, and but then also obviously capoeira, like you have to be paying attention to the other person that you're playing in the hall though with and respecting their space. I think capoeira is so great for kids that are willing to engage in it, because obviously there's just naturally they're exercising, so they're getting strong, but they're also using their brains, right? So it's
Right.
that like
Yeah.
good balance, and I mean that's true for anybody, but I think for kids in particular, they tend to get isolated, right? Like they're
Yes.
either
Yes.
just at home,
Especially today's days.
yeah, like
Yeah.
they're plugged into stuff, or they just like it's scheduling things is hard. And so if they're, yes, they're at school together, but when they're not at school, a lot of kids end up just like hanging out at home in their apartments or whatever.
Yeah. Just playing video games. Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. Or having those like friends that they are playing video games and they wanna go play video games with those friends.
yeah, yeah. So it's just,
And
I mean, it's a great like tool for so many different skills for kids.
yeah. Yeah. No, that's awesome. I think having capoeira as a tool for help kids have off off screen time. That's a big benefit to this.
Yeah, yeah,
Interact with other kids. That's something that we need today's days.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, learning to be respectful, learning to, I mean, like when I teach kids classes, the first day, we have to set the safety rules, right? Like, and it's
Oh,
basically I have two rules. Like, you have to be safe, and if you can't be safe, you have to sit out. And like, and we talk about what it looks like to be safe and what it sounds like to be safe, and like all of that kid language, right? But um, really safety comes down to respecting the other kids and the adults in the space, right?
yeah,
So it's that way we can have more fun, right?
yeah,
Like
yeah.
if
No,
but if
yeah,
someone's not being safe, then like maybe they're having fun, but it takes away the fun from the rest of the kids. So it's like ground rule when I teach kids classes, like we talk about what does it look like to be safe and have safe bodies and safe mouths and language, and what does it sound like, and
yeah,
um, it's just like makes then like teaching class, and like because kids get excited and they want to just like, oh yes, we're gonna kick, and I just want to
yeah.
kick
Start
everything
jumping
and
around.
everyone.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
And it's just like, okay, remember what's our one rule, like
yeah, yeah. Like
safety.
bring them a little bit. Yeah,
Yep, and like if you need to take a little minute and like go sit against the wall, go get a drink of water, come back.
yeah, yeah.
um but like as long as they can just like remember kind of that safety rule and that respect rule, um
Exactly.
it's great.
Yeah, yeah. Because the like you said, they get like super excited, and then you have that like kid that is like very calm, very shy, and then you have that kid that is like, okay, let's go, let kick and ow and macaco, and they want to do something,
Exactly.
and it's like, hey, hold on, you gotta like understand how the dynamics start working, and then getting them into that dynamic.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and then this is a good point too because for kids, how long is your kids class, or how long do you like to do it?
45 minutes to an hour
Nice.
is about what I like. I find that anything shorter than 45 minutes is too short. Like you don't have time to get really warmed up and
Yeah.
into like whatever lesson you want to teach them and like the movements for the day. And if it's any less than 45 minutes, I find that you don't have time for a holiday at the end, or you don't have time
That's
to do
true.
the music as well. Um, So we usually do 45 minutes to an hour, and I feel like that's about right because you can, within that 45 minutes to an hour, I usually start with the kids in a roda with a song. It's just
Oh,
like a
cool.
nice way for them
Okay.
to kind of like, they know what to expect, they know the structure, because like routines are really important for kids as well.
Yeah.
So if they know, and then like if a kid is running a few minutes late and they come into class a few minutes late, we're just in the roda, like we're
Oh,
singing,
that's
they
good.
can join. It's really easy. They're not missing the warm up in the first couple of minutes necessarily. Um,
How long do
but
you do?
yeah, um, start for like I just start with a song. So
Oh, cool.
usually I don't know, 3 or 4 minutes. We
Oh,
start
cool.
like class is supposed to start. You start like I start the roda. Everyone comes. The kids get together. Um, just sing for 3 4 minutes, and then we transition into the warm up and whatever movements we're practicing for the day. And then at the end of class, I close with a roda as well.
Okay, okay.
Um, oh,
Kind of
that's
like
nice.
bring that, kind of like bring the energy up, no? Like,
Exactly. Like it's a routine, like kind of calmer way to start because a lot of my kids' classes that I used to teach were after school classes, and so they were coming in with all this
oh,
energy after school, and it's like, okay, let's focus,
yeah.
and then let's play and learn some movements, and then let's bring those movements back into the hall at the end. So yeah, and now with um, when we teach at the mental health facility, it's a little bit different because it's not full on like capoeira classes. It's considered
Okay.
movement music therapy.
He's so cute. That kid is so,
Mudge.
yeah.
Um, so the music and movement therapy at the mental health facility means that we usually give the patients a choice. Do you want to start learning the movement or do you want to start learning the music? And they almost
Okay.
always choose to do music first because it's
Oh,
kind of
cool.
like they're not sure what this is. And
Okay.
for the younger kids, it's kind of and the panderos and the agogos and stuff like that. And they kind of, it's good because then they get to hear the rhythm and they kind of settle into that rhythm. It's really good for trauma patients to have
Oh,
like a really steady rhythm. And then actually, we learned through one of the staff members there that symmetrical movement is also good for trauma victims. And so ginga back and forth, right,
oh, wow.
is
That's
really
awesome.
good for trauma victims.
That's awesome.
So yeah, in those classes we start with like 20 or 25 minutes of learning, all the instruments. We do like a quick course. Here's how you play all the instruments. We
That's
throw a
awesome.
song at them, and we just tell them like it's capoeira. Like you learn as you go, do the best you can, and then we transition and we do 20 25 minutes of movement if they're up for it, and we close with a roda and we put it all together, and so they can really feel a sense of accomplishment in 50 minutes to an hour,
Okay.
because they're like the inpatients at the mental health facility are struggling. And so it's really good for them, not just to like, or whatever, is good for them, but also that sense of accomplishment. I learned something new. I was able to do something that I didn't think I could do. So it boosts
Yeah.
their confidence as well.
That's awesome. And now I'm gonna come back to this subject, but before it goes away
Yeah.
from mine, before I forget. So I want to come back for to the kids,
Yeah.
just like at the or skill kids class.
Hmm.
How do you keep, like we mentioned before, how do you keep that spark? Do you have like structure, like for example, like you have at the beginning you have the music, and
Hmm.
you have games, and you have the capoeira movements, and then you have the how do you structure that part?
Um, so yeah, like the beginning, the kids know like when I yell yay, they come in, they like form the roda. And once we've started, they know, usually once we know a few songs, I'll just start with, usually it's just a pandero so that I'm able to move around a little bit more. And I've
Cool.
got the pandero going and they know to clap. And I'll lead the song. And after, once we get into, the kids being able to lead songs, then I'll ask like if anyone wants to lead a song instead of me leading it. And then
That's
I'll put, we end the song and I'll put the pandero down. And usually I choose the game because
okay.
sometimes it's specific to like the other movements that I'm going to teach later in the class. And so
Oh,
if I
cool.
want them to be practicing certain things, um, but they're just a lot of the games that I play are adaptations of games that the kids would play in gym class.
Oh, cool.
So
Okay.
like sharks and minnows or freeze tag, but freeze
Oh,
tag is like if you get frozen, you have to stay in AU, like, AU position until
okay.
someone does cabezada, or you have to stay in
Oh,
cocorrinha until
like that.
someone does meia Frenchie over you.
Cool.
Uh,
Okay.
so like they're games that they know, but a new move, usually when I have, especially when I have a bigger class of kids, first couple of weeks, I assign them spots on the floor so that when I say, okay, line up and face the mirror, they always go to the same spot. And usually
Oh,
it's
cool. Okay.
the smaller kids are in the front so that they're not getting blocked, and the taller kids are in the back.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. That's a good idea.
But I assign them spots so that there's no in front. No, I want to be next to this person. Like, no, you had your spots, just go to
Yeah.
them.
I get
um, and then yeah, like go through the movements, and then usually like practice them individually, partner up. Um, it always depends. Like in one session, I might be able to just partner up and they can do it individually all over the floor. In other sessions, I have them go down the floor 2 by 2, where the dynamic of the class, like how I structure that paired practicing.
okay.
Usually somewhere where I have either mats or yoga mats or something, so we can do a little, like headstand, bananera practice,
Oh,
and
cool. Okay.
ponchi and stuff like that. But like we get out the mats so the kids feel a little bit safer. And then we bring it, like by that time, it's hola time, and sometimes I have them practice the exact sequence that we did in class in the hola, and sometimes I say, do whatever you want in the hola.
Okay.
So
To
yeah.
kind of like work on that creativity
Mhm.
for putting stuff together.
Mhm.
That's so cool. That's really cool. And then now coming back to the other kids, uh,
Mhm.
how do you structure that class, or how do you get first? How do you get into that kind of program?
So that getting into that program was um, just the capoeira world being small again.
Okay.
Like it's super big, but then like you get these connections, right? And it brings the world really close. So one of the therapists at the facility trained capoeira when he was
Oh,
at the
cool.
university in town, back in the 90s.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
And yeah, and I mean, because Omulu has been in Madison for over 30 years.
Wow.
So yeah,
Wow. That's
yeah. I
crazy.
mean, Mestre Preguiça has been in the United States for over 30 years. He trained under Mestre Bimba, right? He's been around for a long time. And Omulu Madison was the second branch of Omulu in the United States. So we've been
Oh,
around for a while. And we're in a university town. So a lot of students have come through and trained with Omulu at the university. So, anyways, one of the therapists at the mental health facility, thought, hey, I think I think the kids that are inpatients here would benefit from this combination of music and movement. He
absolutely.
reached out to us. Part of our mission, we're a nonprofit, and so part of our mission statement is to continue to teach capoeira and using it as a tool of empowerment. And
That's awesome.
so, he reached out and he's like, hey, I think your mission statement and what we're trying to do with these pediatric patients would really complement each other. Are you interested in coming out and talking about it? And really that's what it was. Is he had practiced. He doesn't practice anymore, but he's like, I know what capoeira is. I know how empowering it can be. I think it could be really good for our patients.
That's awesome.
And that was, I think we've been doing it for 3 or 4 years now.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. That's really
Yeah,
good.
and it's we do it voluntarily. So it's every other Saturday morning because I can't
Okay.
stay sane and do it every Saturday morning. Um, but yeah, so one of our other instructors and I, Graduado tall dude, he was also in Bloomington,
Oh,
really
cool.
tall guy with
Oh, yeah.
glasses.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I remember.
Yeah, so he and I are the ones that teach out there for the most part, and it's been nothing but good feedback
That's a good
from the
goal.
yeah,
That's
like
what we're looking for.
exactly. And sometimes the kids and the students that are patients out there, especially a lot of the teenagers, they're struggling with depression, and so their energy is really low. Um, and they're getting, medications figured out and the
Yeah.
chemicals in their bodies figured out. And so in the moment, they're not always like, "Hey, this is awesome."
Yeah. They're
But
completely down and all that.
right, but they still in like their feedback sessions afterwards, and when they're released, they always do kind of get feedback from the patients, and we always get really positive feedback. So
That's
even if like in the moment they're not really feeling it, when they reflect on it, they recognize that that was something that was at least interesting or
positive.
positive in some way. Uh-huh.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So for when you mentioned before that you do music with them, how what kind of music do you start? You like straight Samento Grande? Because you said that they come with a really low energy. So you try to like pick it up. You start like for example like Angola, and they start like going faster and faster until like they kind of like pick up a little bit more of that energy.
Yeah, so when we start, we give them a really brief history of capoeira so that they know kind of what they're getting into, and
Yeah.
why they're being exposed to this, and kind of how it's different and than maybe other martial arts that they've seen. And then we start with just Banguela. And, we have pandeiros and agogos and atabakis. Um, and then we just have a ton of kaishishis that,
Oh, cool.
if they don't want to, if they're, because some kids are like really hesitant to join in. And so we say, at the very least, just grab a kaishishi and just shake it, right? Like,
Okay.
or clap your hands, but we try and
Yeah.
get at some sort of instrument in their hands.
Okay.
And so we just teach them that really basic 1, 2, 3, right? Da, da, da,
Okay.
da, da, da. And then we bring in the birimbaos, right?
Nice.
And that like talk a little bit about those. And we have specific ones that we take there that, if they fall, if they, crack, whatever, it's okay.
Yeah.
um, like we don't bring out the performance ones for
Yeah.
those days.
The backup one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but and then we, like we let them bang around, and like, and again, we're just like super basic, and we mostly just teach them the Bangala rhythm,
Okay.
um, and keep it kind of slow and steady. Like if there are particular groups who are like really into um the berimbau and like really into learning different rhythms, then we'll sometimes teach them, yeah, Salvando Granji. Sometimes we switch and we start doing makulele
That's awesome.
rhythms because some groups are like, yeah, we really don't want to move. And like
We don't
part
feel
of the
like
deal is like you have to at least get up and try it. But
yeah.
if they try it in like 5 or 10 minutes and they're like, yeah, we really are not willing to move, we're like, okay, that's fine. But then we have to do some more rhythms. Like they're not allowed to just like, okay, we're done
Just
after
sit
half
down.
an hour. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
so like we have that, and makulele is always really fun because it's a little more swing to it, right? And
Yeah.
there's
It's
some
a
more
little more
interesting
like
rhythms.
rhythm and yeah.
And so sometimes we'll do that. Sometimes we teach them samba
Oh,
rhythms.
cool. Nice.
It just depends on,
On the
yeah,
moment, right?
the moment and what they're kind of feeling, and how, some kids we get in there and they're like, oh yeah, well I play percussion and band at school, and like I got this, and
Yeah. Yeah.
we're just like, okay, we're gonna throw some more stuff at you.
Yeah. Yeah. Now grab the beating ball.
Yeah,
Show me
exactly.
what you got.
Yeah.
Nice.
So, and it's actually they love like getting to play with the beating ball because they've never, you know, played an instrument like that before. So the kids that are really into music, they're like, okay,
Yeah.
let me at this. Like, let's
So
figure this
tricky.
out.
It is really tricky.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So, um, but yeah, so we usually just stick to the Bangala rhythm and keep it chill.
Okay.
And we always have kind of 3 or 4 basic songs that we let them choose from, just again to like give them a sense of choice and power. And we give them a quick and dirty translation of the song. So it's like, okay, do you want to sing about calling someone from the jungle to play with you, or do you want to sing about going to the market? like,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
like they have really no idea what these songs are going to sound
Yeah.
like or be, but at least they like have some choice.
Nice. Nice. So yeah. So they can have the sense of like you said like empowerment and on making
Exactly.
choices.
Exactly. And we let them, like, we make sure that everyone has a chance to play all of the instruments. But then when we start doing the songs, we just say, choose the instrument that you're most comfortable with.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and just, we do challenge them to play the instrument and sing at the same time. Because again, it's that, it's a piece of like feeling vulnerable, but still feeling like you're in a safe space and
Okay.
everybody's giving it a try and messing up and getting back on. And
Yeah, yeah. What is the range age for these kids?
so the younger kids are age, um, I think they can be as young as 5. Usually the youngest is
Okay.
6. So 6 to 12 is
Oh, okay.
the are the older kids.
Oh, okay. Okay. So it's more like, yeah. So you're definitely tapping into different kind of mindset.
Right,
Absolutely. Yeah.
right.
Yeah. Because I mean, a different at 5 years old is not gonna be the same as a 10 years old.
Exactly, exactly.
No, that's awesome, and that's the beautiful part about capoeira. That if one kid is not feeling like doing a jinga, at least they can play beating ball. Or if they don't feel like
Exact.
playing beating ball, they can do the claps, and they still participating and putting that energy out.
Yeah. It's been really cool the past, I would say over the past year or so. So when the patients come to us, whether so the facility where we do these classes is really nice. They have an outside space for us when the weather's nice,
That's
we can be
awesome.
outside. Or they have a gym. So when it's,
That's so
now
cool.
it's cold,
Yeah.
like we can be inside. But have an actual gym space as opposed to just like using a conference room or something. But the
Okay.
staff members that are with the kids, um, legally they have to be in there. And when we first started, they would just kind of sit off to the side and watch and, do paperwork or whatever. But now, they've started to participate.
That's so cool. That's so
It
cool.
so it's really cool. And
The,
that's,
the energy
the
traps
kids
them.
like it. Yeah, yeah.
Cool.
And it's, and it's good for the patients that are there to see like, look, my staff member, like my therapist or whoever, like they're not good at this either, but they're still
Yeah.
trying.
Yeah.
And
Exactly. And they're
uh,
interacting with the kids, and the kids see them, and that's awesome.
exactly. So that's been really fun to get that like adult involvement as well.
That's awesome. And do they ask you for any kind of like certification, like or paperwork for, or like some people they ask for like CPR, like certification.
Um, I don't remember if they asked us to have CPR or not. I have it, like Tall Dude and I have it anyways because we also
Okay.
were teaching through the rec program, so we have to be certified to teach through the rec program.
Okay.
Um, so we do have it. I don't know that the mental health facility asked us. We had to go through um, the hospital's volunteer training,
Okay.
um,
Okay.
which
Yeah, how to
is,
handle the
just
people and then all that. Yeah.
yep, and like understanding privacy, all the privacy laws and just protocol for
Makes
the
sense. Yeah.
facility and stuff like that, and also just like it's kind of interesting because we don't work in the main hospital. The mental health facility is a totally different facility, and so like most volunteers have to wear like a jacket or a polo, like a button-up shirt, and we're
Okay.
like, so we're teaching capoeira, and
That's not gonna work.
we that's not really gonna work. And they're like, no, it's fine as long as you wear your like group shirt, and your ID tag, like you're fine. So they were like they were willing to work with us, which was also really
That's
nice. Um, but yeah, I mean, there's some, you have to get your TB test every year and you have to get your flu shot every year, like that kind of thing. But as in terms of certification, um, they really didn't ask us for a whole lot. I mean, there's, like,
okay. That makes the stuff way easier.
yeah, yeah,
Oh, that's awesome. That's great, and that helps. That definitely helps to whoever is listening right now to get that motivation a little bit to try something different too. Because sometimes we get like, oh, why do they need this? Oh, should I do that? And then they get a fear in the head, and then they don't do it.
right. And like capoeira is interesting because it's not like we have, I don't know, like some sort of broad national or international certification
Yeah,
process,
true,
right? Like
true.
we
Yeah,
become graduated students according to our mestres,
yeah.
but like
Like a personal trainer, for example, like you get a license.
exactly,
Yeah,
exactly. So it's, it's interesting and it's unfamiliar, it's not like, oh, I have a black belt, and people kind of generally accept that a black belt is someone that should have
karate.
skill, right? Like, that's capoeira rankings are totally different, and so they just kind of, I don't know, they trust us, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. Well, which is the put capoeira in a really good position for the entire capoeira community.
Hmm.
No, that's awesome. And now, like, speaking about capoeira community, how do you think to start like a little bit wrapping it up? Because I know you got busy schedule too. Um, how do you think, from your personal perspective, we can make like capoeira stronger, the capoeira community stronger?
Um, so one of the biggest things is just get out and play with each other.
Nice.
Um, and and then take the time to get to know the people you're playing with. So go to an open roda, but don't just go play and leave. Go, play, and then hang out. Grab some
Nice.
food afterwards, like talk to the other people.
Build
Um,
relationships, pretty much.
exactly. One of the things that is I find a little bit challenging being up in Wisconsin is that so there's Omulu. For a long time, it was just Omulu, and then there is an Angola group that's been in town for a while, but their group is small and they've had some challenges or whatever, so they're not super active.
Okay.
And now in Madison, we do have another regional group. We have Raízes do Brasil is
Oh,
in town
cool.
as well.
That's a group. It's funny because that's the group where I started.
Oh,
Yeah, that's what it. Yeah, Mestre Jaleo. I started with that group back in Venezuela.
nice.
That's so cool.
So, yeah, so they have a branch here in Madison.
That's awesome.
Under like they train under Mestre Papiba now, but
Oh, I heard about that name before. Yeah, that's
yeah.
awesome. That's pretty cool.
So there's two groups here, but we're both like it used to be just Omalu, and basically now the same number of people are training capoeira. It's just that they're split between two groups. And
Okay.
then in Wisconsin, the only other group is Nago in Milwaukee. And so for us to do like to train with other groups or go to open house, we either have to drive down to Chicago or drive up to Minneapolis. And that's
Oh,
like it's a bigger time commitment, right? Like
yeah,
and you
yeah,
understand
exactly.
that too, right? Like
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, yeah.
um so it's a lot of our Omalu branches are out in California. So and there's a ton of capoeira out there. So it's like you
Oh,
could
wow.
go they can go to capoeira like rodas every weekend or events or whatever, and
Pretty
it's
much. Pretty much. Yeah.
right, and it's like now the commute is maybe the same length, even if it's in the same city, but like you're at least in the same city.
Yeah, exactly.
Um,
Yeah. It's not. It's not. Probably the farther they can go to an Ahada is like an hour. Probably.
right,
Yeah, yeah.
right.
And it's a bunch of
So
capoeira still.
exactly,
Yeah.
and they're just like the range of groups and stuff, and so um, but I think it's really important to like make the effort to go and play in open rodas and and then maintain those relationships. Like
Exactly. Yeah.
I used to like I don't really know this person, like I met them at one capoeira event, like I'm not going to connect with them on social media. And now one of the things actually that I've learned being an instructor is that you do need to connect with that person
That's
because
absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, like you and I, like we met once in person and
Yeah.
like
Here you
but
go.
now, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Um, and and it's worth it. And like the whole reason I was
Yeah.
down at the Bloomington at Contramestre Rafael's event last year was because he let me train with him while I was in grad school at IU. And so,
So cool.
I have one of my best friends is someone that I met through capoeira down there, and so like he and I have stayed in contact.
That's awesome.
And through that, I've gone to a lot of other events, and he and I have connected with other people and like
Cool.
connected our groups, and um,
You
you
never
know
know how a friendship can go. Like you start
exactly
talking and talking, and then all of a sudden you're like really good friends.
exactly like it's not
Yeah.
even about the capoeira anymore. You're just straight up.
Exactly.
Um,
Exactly. Yeah.
and that's really true. I know I told you this after we had our encounters that just like I'm so happy with the community that we've um, that's coming together,
That's
especially kind of between Milwaukee and Madison groups. We do a Roda de Amigos. We try and do it once a month,
that's so
um,
cool.
and we kind of rotate. Who's hosting, but it's a conscious effort among especially the three groups, the two groups in Madison and Nago in Milwaukee, and then So Omulu actually has 4 instructors in the Chicago area, and none of them
Oh,
are
cool.
actually teaching classes right now.
Oh,
Um, just like, life happens and you go down
yeah,
different paths and you take a break for a while or whatever. But so we always but they want to do capoeira. It's just like life right now isn't allowing them to teach regular classes. And
yeah,
so they love coming up to the Roda de Amigos, whether it's in Milwaukee or Madison, and everyone is welcome. I mean, we put it
that's
on our Facebook and Instagram and stuff, and everyone's welcome to come to
yeah.
our Roda de Amigos.
And
Um,
hopefully I can make it one day there. I really want to visit you guys.
yeah, and the other thing that has helped, at least in Madison for Omolu, is when people come from out of town, we host them in our homes.
That's awesome.
Um, so, and I know that in the back in the day,
Yeah, yeah.
that's what capoeiristas did, right? Like,
Oh, yeah.
and maybe you were just like sleeping on the floor in someone's hallway, and Guerrera has a ton of
That's great.
stories of like
Oh, yeah.
sleeping in not great conditions, but it's like that's what a capoeiragem was, right? You went with your group and you crashed wherever they had you,
Yeah.
and so here in Madison, at least, we try and do that as much as possible, and um, if it ever gets to the point where we don't have space,
Yeah.
at least that means that we have a ton of capoeiristas in town. So,
Yeah. Well,
um,
that helps for the same we work, which is the point that building that relationship. And
exactly.
at the end of the day, you sleep on the floor for 2 days. So what? You know what I mean? It's like, but you're having fun all day. You're doing capoeira with a bunch of people. You're connecting with a lot of people.
Yeah. So, that like those are the 2 big things. And like go to the halls, play with people, hang out with them afterwards,
Okay.
and then for us as like the hosting group, try and have people stay with you because you
Yeah.
really get to know people on a different level that way.
That's completely true. Yeah. Oh yeah. And now for the point of the whole female series is like, how can the capoeira community in general, how can we make the female come up, like make them stronger? How, what do you think, where we can work at?
Um, so there capoeira and like gender politics and dynamics is so interesting. And I
Yeah.
mean, you could do, um, there are actually a number of students at UW doing research projects on it right now. It's been interesting. We've gotten interviewed a couple of times this semester already about it. But
About capoeira.
yeah.
Oh, cool.
So because capoeira has been around so long in Madison and on the UW campus, um, there are some courses that actually talk about capoeira in different contexts. So one of them is in the dance department. There's a course that talks about different styles of dance, and capoeira, they consider capoeira, one of them. And so a lot of times we have students come who are doing research into capoeira, and now that kind of gender politics is a bigger issue in
That's
the
cool.
world,
Yeah.
that's a lot of what they're focusing on. Um, is like what are the gender politics within capoeira? But
Yeah.
in terms of just like kind of empowering the female capoeiristas, I think one thing that um, I guess I've just kind of noticed throughout my years of training as a capoeirista
Yeah.
is that um, obviously like men's and women's bodies are different.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And for a long I never had a female instructor. Like all the workshops I went to were led by men. My instructor was a man. And there was very little consideration for how a woman might need to move her body differently in order to
Yeah.
do the same movement.
Yeah.
Um, and so that's one thing that I think just in general, like even if you don't like, I can't tell you how your body works
Yeah.
because I'm not you
Exactly.
and
Yeah.
I'm not a man. So I don't know how that feels to be in your body. But just recognizing that, hey, you might need to think about this in a different way. Like I power
Absolutely.
through because I have a lot of power in my legs, but maybe someone else is going to have to get momentum and use their upper body to pull them through or so, just
Yeah.
like, but recognizing that just because I explain it one way and do this movement one way doesn't mean that you're going to be able to do it with that same thought process. You might have to
That's
approach
correct.
it in a different way.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
It's like
It's
just recognizing that bodies are different.
Absolutely, absolutely. And it's the same like on my last episode before my computer broke. I was talking about, or we were talking about with my last guest, that each even either female and male, we have strength and weaknesses. You know, like usually it's the case that male are stronger and the female are more flexible, and you can just like train together and try to like make those weaknesses stronger. You know,
Right.
like I'm stiff, but when I train with a girl, I'm like I want to be that flexible, you know,
Yeah,
and we can help each other, you know,
exactly.
and it's about like being together to grow together. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I also feel really strongly, one of the things that I also really love about capoeira is that I it's not divided by gender. You get to play with
That's
everybody.
that's
And I
true.
really feel strongly that it should stay that way.
Yeah,
Um, like because like you said, you learn from each other, and if I'm only ever allowed to play with women, that takes away a whole dynamic from capoeira that
yeah, yeah,
I don't want to lose. And so I
yeah.
think it's really important to um, because there are some capoeiristas who I've heard them say like, I don't really like playing with women.
Oh, okay.
And if I hear you say that, that's really discouraging.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. It's like, hey, what about me?
yeah, also kind of makes me want to kick you in the face.
Yeah. Oh, I've seen many female capoeiristas that I admire a bunch of female capoeiristas that I'm like I want to play like her. You know what I mean? And it's like, dude, like, can I play with you? Because I want to learn that. You know what I mean?
Right. And I think it's really important to just like keep that openness and like keep that
Absolutely.
like that open-mindedness, right? Like that you can always learn from whoever you're playing with. Someone older, someone younger, someone stronger, someone of a different gender. Um I just think
Like the
it's really
song
important that we
says,
keep working
is
together.
is like the song says, like capoeira é para homem, menino e mulher.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Um so that's like I just think like making sure that your space is always open, like everyone feels welcome and that everyone feels welcome to play in the roda, right? Like
yeah,
a lot of people get nervous, especially when it's a bigger roda. Like making sure that's one thing as an instructor and just as a veteran capoeirista that's been around for a while, that I'm always checking like who hasn't played in the
yeah.
roda. Like, can I invite them in to play with me? Like, like if they know me and they feel safe with me, like, can they play with me? Or can I just say like, hey, you should do it, do
Yeah,
it. Like,
let's go. Yeah. Hey, you
and
haven't played. Let's go.
yeah,
Yeah, same.
making sure that everyone, um, because again, depending on the space, but often I see, um, it is changing for sure. Like but what I was going to say was often I've seen that it's the women who are tentative because like, is it the right time? They don't want to make
Yeah,
a
yeah,
mistake. And it's like, yeah, if you're not sure, check with your instructor or check with someone around you. Like, is it okay? Or whoever's leading the hall up, but still go, like,
exactly, exactly.
check and go.
Take this.
Um,
Yeah,
so yeah, just
that's
like really making sure that everyone feels that this is their space. It belongs to everyone.
exactly, exactly. And this probably comes along of my next question comes along of what you just said about like take the step. What would be your to the few last questions before we wrap it up? What would you think, um, or what would be your advice for the female capoeiristas that are listening to this right now?
Play, play,
Nice,
play.
nice.
Um, and and train. And figure out what works for you. And that's true for physical movement and for music. So that's one of music is another interesting piece of the roda, right? Because my voice doesn't sound like your voice,
Exactly.
and your voice like isn't going to do the same things my voice can do. But that's what's great about capoeira music is
Yes.
it's you're making that music with your voice or with the instruments. That's just adding to the energy. And so train on your own, but like take advantage obviously of like go to class too to figure like be exposed to different things, different movements, different songs, different ways of approaching music. um Gahira and I are two very different people when it comes to music. um so that's kind of cool as well. Like women leading our group, but music has been a forte in my life, and music has been a challenge in her capoeira life. And so it's
Okay.
good for our students to
The
see
balance.
that, like, exactly like how she comes at it, whereas how the approaches that I bring, finding different songs, like music is a challenge for you, like talk to someone who has also had a challenge in that, like seek, that's my advice, is like play, but also like seek out people and ask them, like ask for advice, and
Absolutely, yeah.
um, figure out, like, find the songs that work for you, and let your voice be heard. One of our yellow chords has started traveling with us a bunch, and it's been
Nice.
awesome. And one of the things that I've heard her say numerous times about what she likes about capoeira is that it empowers women because it really forces you to be seen and be heard.
That's awesome.
We our students don't have the choice to not sing. We have, like, right, like everyone has to sing, even if it's just, over and over the same thing. Oh, I
Oh
see,
yeah.
see, see. Oh, and like that's the only thing they lead at first. That's fine,
Oh,
right?
absolutely, yeah.
But nobody is off the hook, right? And part of that is Guerrero's like, look, I wasn't great at music, but I had to do it. So
Yeah.
everyone else, like, that's part of capoeira. So,
Yeah, yeah.
and this student of ours is like, I never would have sung if I weren't forced to do it. But now she's like, now I have space and I have a voice, and like I'm expected to take up that space. And I'm expected to be heard.
That's awesome.
She's like, that's really powerful.
Oh
So,
yeah, oh yeah. Oh yes. Yeah, yeah. Especially the many or some of the interviews I've done before were like the male the capoeira before since the beginning sometimes uh, was like very male power, and
right.
then with the time that has been changing, and now I say, from my perspective, I see it like equal, what I mean, and is
Hmm.
there's like a lot of capoeirista females that are stepping up, and men opening that door for women to step up,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, and now
I
for
also really encourage, oh,
yeah,
go
yeah.
ahead.
No, go ahead, Tom.
Oh, I was just going to say, like, one of the other things that we encourage our students to do is get on the instruments when you're in a bigger roda. Like, even if it's
Oh,
just
that's
like
awesome.
grab that pandeiro, like, it's not just like, we're not just doing this in class for you to practice. Like, we're practicing so that when you're in a public capoeira space, get on that instrument. Or,
Oh,
like, I had to learn, like, one of my challenges was taking the gunga,
oh,
right?
yes,
Like,
yeah, yeah, yeah. Because that's
like,
pretty much you are gonna lead the huddle.
right. And, in Omulu, we don't have a lot of we have some high-ranking female capoeiristas in Omulu, um, but not a ton. And depending on, which event I was attending, we're not always there together. And so there aren't a lot all together at once. And so for me to, like, especially because I'm not a super high-ranking chord, right? But
Yeah,
um, I can hold my own on the gunga, and I can
awesome,
sing, and
awesome.
um, and some of our other high chords, might not be as comfortable. And
Yeah,
so that was a space where I, like, had to just kind of put myself there, and, like, obviously asking permission, but
yeah, yeah,
I'm going to ask to take the gunga because this person's been on it and nobody else is giving them a break
yeah,
and willing.
yeah, yeah. And be proud of your knowledge on instruments
Yeah.
and music. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, and let that be seen. So,
Yeah, and
yeah.
don't be afraid to show it neither.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And now, what would be your advice to wrap it up uh, to the capoeira community in general, to all the capoeiristas, male and female, kids, all the capoeiristas listening to this episode?
Um, I think my advice just in general is to engage, to like educate yourselves, whether it's through reading, watching videos on capoeira, watching documentaries, because just going to class and training the movements and training the music and the songs, to me, that's a really superficial level of capoeira.
Yeah, oh
Um,
yeah. So
and
much. There's
so
so much to learn.
there's so much history
Yeah,
to capoeira, and it's, and there are so many perspectives because of the oral history
yeah, exactly.
piece.
Yes.
And so, like, talk. That's, again, like that's why I recommend that people talk to other capoeiristas. Don't just play with them, but talk to them and like, what's the
Ask
history of their
questions.
group?
Yeah.
Like I'm super proud of the fact that I am a student of Mestre Preguiça, who was a student of Mestre Bimba. Bimba was like his second father. Mestre Preguiça
That's a,
basically grew up with Mestre Bimba.
that's awesome.
And so I have learned, I get a lot of, Omulu gets a lot of Mestre lectures because
Yeah.
we're learning from someone who trained under Mestre Bimba. And
Yeah.
that's, that there, yes, Mestre Preguiça wrote a book and I've read that book, but there's so much more to learn than just what he wrote in that book. And so,
Oh yeah.
and I think it's really important to understand the history so that we don't lose sight of where capoeira came from. Not that it can't evolve. Obviously, it's going to evolve, but
Absolutely.
evolving within a respectful context, I guess,
Correct.
is what's important to me.
Correct. Yeah, yeah, I agree. And all that knowledge is not enough fit in just one book, because it's
Exactly.
so much that, and like, for example, when I created this podcast, is because I have a bunch of questions, and usually, and I know that there is dozens of capoeiristas that they probably have the same question, and when I created, I'm like, I'm 100% sure out there is someone is gonna want to ask this to anybody, and it can be something to help everybody in the capoeira community, and that's the point of too. Like, as a capoeiristas, everybody can help in the hot. You know what I mean? Like, every single clap matters.
Exactly.
Every single person singing, and everybody helps everybody.
Yeah.
No, and this is awesome. That's why I love this, and I love the capoeira communities because of this too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and then to like finish the last question again, what are your social medias again so people can contact you? And
So Omulu Madison Capoeira on Facebook is at Madison Capoeira. And on Instagram, it's at Omulu Capoeira Madison. And my Facebook is my actual name, Faith
okay,
Henneke. But you can find me, I think, if you search Bruxa, Omulu
okay, perfect.
as well. But and if you search, if you just Google Omulu Mat, you'll get in touch.
Okay, nice. I will pull the website and the Facebook and all the
Yeah,
somewhere in the description links and everything.
cool.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for the opportunity and sharing all the information, all the knowledge, and the capoeira and your perspective, everything you experienced.
Thank you so much for having me. It's good to see you.
Yes. Thank you so much, and I'm pretty sure I will see you soon, sometime.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
All right. Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. Take care, Koshishi.
Bye.
Hey, I hope you like this video and you like this interview as I did. Please turn those notifications on. Please subscribe and comment down below your thoughts and any question you have for any capoeirist in the world. If you have one question, what it will be. Also, join me in this capoeira podcast because you or everyone in the capoeira community have an experience to share. Even share the experience for people that never have done capoeira and they can understand and they can join us too. Please share with your friends, share with everyone in the capoeira community. Let them know the capoeira podcast experience is open for everyone. Doesn't matter group, doesn't matter where you come from, doesn't matter the planet, doesn't matter the earth, if you're from Mars, but if you do capoeira, I'm going to have you here. Okay, let's share this experience so awesome that capoeira gives us. Okay, please comment down below, let us know what you think. Peace.